Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is HURIL MAWLA. I'm from TBIA class in the fourth group of Toefl subject. And I want to explain to you about listening comprehension part B in Toefl test. I will explain to you skill 18, skill 19, skill 20, and the last is skill 21. Skill 18 is about anticipate the topics. It's very helpful to you if you want to do Toefl test in listening part B. You must anticipate the topics in some words of the answer before you hear the conversation in the audio. For example, the conversation is about school life, about someone's planning, and etc. You should to read answer first before you hear the conversation, and you can determine the topics of the conversation in the answer. You can get it. For the example, you can open your book in the 61 page in skill 18. Exercise 18. Look at the answers to the 5 questions together and try to anticipate the topic of the conversation for those 5 questions. Of course, you cannot always determine exactly what the topic is, but you often can get a general idea. Question 1 through 5 have been answered for you. Here, in the first number, the second number, the third number, the fourth number, and the fifth number, the question is, what is the topic of the conversation for question 1 through 5? Like this. I mean, firstly, you must try to determine the topics in the answer before you hear the question, before you hear the audio of the conversation. So you can get the answer of the question in the conversation audio. I hope you will understand. The next is skill 19. Anticipate the questions. It is same with the skill before it. In skill 18, you must anticipate the topics. But here, in skill 19, you must anticipate the questions. It's very helpful for you if you want to do Toefl test in listening part B. You should to determine the question in the answer. For the example, here you can open the books in page 63. If you can anticipate what the question will be listened by you in the conversation audio. Here, there is example. In the textbook, you read in the airport, in the library, in the dormitory, in the travel against office. So, you can anticipate the question when or where the place is have been. I hope you will understand. I mean, this skill is very same with the skill 18. You should to try determine by yourself the question in the answer. By the answer have you read before it. You can read the answer first before you hear the question in audio conversation. The next is skill 20. Determine the topic. It is very easy to you. You must determine the topics or the main idea of the conversation, then you can get the answer of your question. I mean, you must determine the topics about the conversation by yourself to you get the answer of the question. Do you understand, class? I hope you will understand. For the example, you can open the book in the page 65. In skill 20, determine the topic. Here there is the example. On the recording, you hear the man said, "You can't believe what I just got." And the woman said, "I bet you got that new car you have always wanted." The man said, "Now, how in the world did you figure that out?" And you can think what they said, what the topic about the conversation in that. You think the topic of the conversation is about the new car that the man just got. For the example, I mean that you can get the topic of the main idea in the conversation if you hear slowly, hear briefly, and you can get the answer of the question about the audio conversation. Do you understand, class? I hope you will understand. The last one is Skill 21. Draw conclusions about who, what, when, and where question. It is very easy. You should try determine the situations of the conversation in your mind. You should try to answer the question when, where, who, and what. I hope you will understand. For the example, you can open the page 66. Here there is example. On the recording you hear the man said, "Why do you have so many books?" And the woman said, "I need them for my paper on George Washington. Do you know how I can check them out?" The man said again, "Yes, you should go downstairs to the circulations desk and fill out a card for each book." So you think, who is the probably talking? So the answer is two students. There is man and woman students. And you can think, where are they when they talk about it like this? And you can think, oh, this is the place of library, because the woman said that she need for the paper on George Washington. So you can think they talk in library. And you can think, what course are they discussing? You can answer American history like this, because the answer is what? I mean, the skill 21 is about answer the question who, what, when, and where only. I hope you will understand. Now, it's the time for exercise. For the exercise, you can open your book in 69 page. Here there is Toefl review exercise, skills 18 until 22. You can do the exercise only 2 questions for the 1 number and the 10 number. And I will give you the audio of conversation. You must hear it. Thank you very much for your nice attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
TOEFL Review Exercise, Skills 18 through 22. In this exercise, you will use all of the information that you learned in Skills 18 through 22. Conversation 1. Questions 1 through 4. Listen to a man asking a woman for directions.
Can you tell me how to get to the music building from here? I have a lecture to attend there.
Oh, are you new to campus?
Yes, I just got here last night.
Well, to get to the music building, you have 2 choices. If you want to go right now, you can walk straight down the street until you're past the Commons, and then turn right. The music building will be straight ahead.
How long will it take to get there?
About 20 minutes.
What's my other choice?
If you don't mind waiting around for a while, you can take the shuttle bus. The bus only takes about 5 minutes to get there.
But I have to wait for the bus?
That's right.
Well, I guess I might as well walk.
Number 1. Where does the man want to go? Number 2. How many different routes to the music building does the woman suggest? Number 3. What is the problem with taking the shuttle bus? Number 4. What does the man finally decide to do? Conversation 2. Questions 5 through 9. Listen to a woman talk to a friend about her vacation.
How was your trip to Wyoming last summer?
It was fantastic. Some of the most beautiful scenery in the country is in Wyoming.
Where did you go in Wyoming?
We drove by Devil's Tower National Monument, and we spent a few days in Laramie. But we spent most of our vacation in Yellowstone National Park.
You went to Yellowstone? I wish I could have gone. I've heard that Yellowstone is just magnificent.
It's the oldest and largest national park in the United States, and it's got spectacular waterfalls, hot springs, and geysers.
Did you see Old Faithful?
Of course we saw Old Faithful. It's the best known of the geysers there. We couldn't visit Yellowstone without seeing Old Faithful.
Do you think you'll be taking another vacation in Yellowstone again? If you do, I'd like to go next time.
Number 5. How does the woman describe her Wyoming vacation? Number 6. How did the woman probably travel on vacation? Number 7. Which of the following did the woman do on vacation? Number 8. Which of the following is a well-known site in Yellowstone? Number 9. What would the man like to do? Conversation 3. Questions 10 through 13. Listen to a conversation between two friends.
How are you going to spend this year's Thanksgiving vacation?
I'm going to spend it with my family. We celebrate very traditionally. We go to my grandparents' house and have a big Thanksgiving dinner. It's really the only time in the year that my whole family gets together.
In my family, we just have a big feast, too. We don't really stop and think about how Thanksgiving Day developed, how new colonists in Massachusetts had a 3-day feast to give thanks for surviving the first terrible winter and for gathering their first corn harvest the following year.
Did you know that the original Thanksgiving Day was celebrated in July?
No. I thought Thanksgiving had always been in November.
The first Thanksgiving was celebrated on July 30th, 1623. After that, Thanksgiving was celebrated at many different times. It wasn't until 1863 that Abraham Lincoln declared the last Thursday in November as a day of Thanksgiving, and this holiday has been celebrated in November ever since.
Number 10. What is the subject of this conversation? Number 11. How will the woman spend Thanksgiving? Number 12. What were the Massachusetts colonists thankful for? Number 13. According to the speaker, when is Thanksgiving celebrated today?
This is the end of listening part B. This is the end of cassette 2, side 2. Please insert cassette 3 to continue with the TOEFL exercises for listening part C and TOEFL post-test.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello class, my name is PUTRI MEILINA. I'm from class TBIA, and now I want to discuss about TOEFL and listening comprehension in skill 22, 23, and 24. Skill 22. Listen for answers in order. There are two possible methods to use while you listen to a conversation in the listening part B of the TOEFL test. The first one, you can just listen to the conversation and ignore the answer. And the second, you can follow along with the answer while you listen. Students find that they can answer more questions correctly if they read along with the answer while the conversation is being spoken, because the title questions are answered in order. It is possible to read along while you listen the
conversation in the recording program. Before the recording begins, you should read over the answer to question. First, anticipate the topic, and the second, you will hear anticipate the question. While you are listening to the conversation, you should do the following. And the first, listen for the topic in the first line, and the second, draw conclusion about the situation in who, what, when, and where. And the last, listen for the answer in order. Listening comprehension section of the Toefl test consists of 3 talks, followed by a number of questions. You will hear the talks and the question on a recording. On a recording, they are not written in your textbook. You must choose the best answer to each question for the 4 choice in the written in your textbook, like the conversation and listening part B. The talk of are often about some aspect of school life or topic currently in the news. And next here, strategies for the listening part C question. The first, you have time preview the answer to the listening part C question. While you are looking the answer, you should try to do the following. Anticipate the topic of the conversation you will hear and anticipate the question for each of the group of answer. The second, listen chiefly to the first line of the talk. The first line of the conversation often contain the main idea, subject, or topic the talk, and you will often be asked this type of question. And the third, as you listen to the talk, draw conclusion about the situation of the talk. Who is talking? Where when the talk takes place? Which course this lecture might be given? And you will often ask too much, such as in inference about the talk. And the fourth, as you listen to talk, follow along with the answer in your textbook. Try to determine the correct answer, the title, conclusion, and are generally answered in order in the talk. And the answer often sound the same what is said on the recording. And the fifth, you should guess even if you are not sure. Never leave any answer blank. And the last, use any remaining time to look ahead at the answer to the question that follow. Skill 23. Anticipate the topic. It's very helpful to your overall comprehension if you know what topic to expect in the long conversation. You should therefore try to anticipate the topic you will be hearing. For example, are the conversation about some aspect of school life or some type of social issue or a trip someone is planning? A helpful strategy is therefore to look briefly at the answer in the textbook. Therefore, you actually hear the conversations on the recording and try to determine the topic of the conversation that you will hear. Skill 24, anticipate the question. It's very helpful to your ability to answer individual questions with the long conversation. If you can anticipate what the question will be, listen specifically for the answer to those questions. In the textbook you read, in the airport, in the library, in the dormitory, in the travel agent office. You try to anticipate the question where does the conversation probably take place. In this example, you can be quite certain that one of the questions will be about where the conversation take place. Since you are sure that this one of the question, you can listen carefully for clue that will give you answer. These examples show that a helpful strategy is therefore to look briefly at the answer in the textbook before you actually hear the conversation on the recording, and try to determine the question that you will be asked to answer.
Okay, enough from me. I'm sorry to my mistake. And next material will be brought by my friend in the last presenter. Okay. The last I say, wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, I'm YULIA WULANDARI from TBIA class, and I'm for group. In this video, I want to explain about listening in skill 25. Determine the topic. This skill talk about when you think about the main idea of the long conversation, or it can be about the topic in discuss the subject. From the first or the two sentences in general, give the subject, you should ask yourself what is them while they are listening carefully to the first part of the conversation. Once you identify the topic, you can more easily determine the conversation the topic. As you listen to each talk in listening part C, you should be thinking about the topic or subject on my idea for the talk, or as you did in listening part B. Sign the first sentence in generally a topic sentence. You should be asking yourself what the topic is while you are listening carefully to the first part of the talk. Example, on the recording you hear, man, the major actually the occur is of Los Angeles in 1971 and still affecting the economy of the area today. You think the topic of the talk is the effect of the 1971 actually on Los Angeles today. Okay, next in skill 26, draw conclusion about who, what, when, and where. As you listen to each talk in listening part C, you should be trying to see the situation in your mind. As you did in listening part B, you should be thinking the following though. Who is talking? When does the talk probably take place? Where does the talk probably take place? What course is the talk concerned with? What is the source of information for the talk? You can listen on the recording. And the last skill 27, listen for answer in order. There are two possible methods to use while you listen to long conversation. You can just listen to the conversation and ignore the answer. You can follow along with the answer while you listen, because the
Detailed questions are answered in order it's possible to read along while you listen to conversation on the recording. Example,